You ever try and make pho at home? It's a process, right? You buy spices, beef bones, you have to blanch, boil, simmer for hours on end. And then at the end of it, it's not quite like a restaurant, right? Yeah, I've made a few attempts and I was pretty disappointed with myself. Until I discovered this stuff. It's really simple. It's just bouillon and spice packets and it makes about 2 gallons of broth, enough for about 12 large bowls of pho. And it only takes like 40 minutes to basically pop it out of its package, throw it in water, add some ginger and onions, and it's like ready to serve, and it tastes exactly like a restaurant. So much so I think restaurants use this. Once you got the soup stock out of the way, you got to pick out some noodles. These are the fresh ones. They take 10 seconds in boiling water to cook. Like, you got to blink and they're done. If you can't get a hold of these, then get a hold of some dried ones. You'll find them at pretty much most Asian stores and even some American stores. Now we got to pick out some herbs and garnishments. There's cilantro, Thai basil, green onions, bean sprouts, lime, and jalapeno. You can find this at most stores. The basil, you can do without it. If you can't find it, don't worry about it too much. Then you got to get your cut of beef. This is eye round, but you can use any tender cut that you can slice thin and drop in water, and it cooks quick. You'll be fine. All right, let's get to making the bouillon. So you crack this open. You'll notice the first thing you notice is a funk. Some people aren't used to that, and if you're not, don't worry about it. That smell does dissipate, and it just leaves behind a great flavor. It's the fish sauce inside the bouillon. In the packet, you're gonna see basically a bucket of bouillon. It's gonna be rock hard, and that packet right there is 2 bags of spice mixture, which you can split. So what I usually do is I split it in two, and I make 1 gallon today, and then the next gallon whenever. Here's the hard part: making the stock. You break up the bouillon and you put it in a gallon of water. Have some extra water on the side, so as it boils down, then you can add water to it to keep it about a gallon of water, and bring it to a simmer. That's it. Get one 2 by 2 chunk of ginger and cut it in half. And then you want to get a Spanish onion, and real specifically, only use a Spanish yellow onion. Don't use white, don't use sweet. It'll kind of give the broth an off flavor or make it sweet, which I've tried and it doesn't work out. So, take off the skin, cut it up. See me, it's taking forever. I kind of suck at that. This video is the first time I've seen my hands in a video before, and I got some meat paws. Next, take any nonstick pan. I'm using carbon steel, but you can use cast iron or just basic Teflon. Bring it to medium high, and then put the onion and ginger face down into the pan without any oil. We're basically giving it some color, like some browning marks without the oil, because we don't want to fry it at all, just for the flavor. And this is after it's done. See, about right there. You can go a little more, and it's not that big a deal. You just don't want to burn it. All right, bring your soup stock up to a boil and chunk in the onion and ginger and let it boil for about 30 minutes. All right, it's garnishing plate time. I'm gonna start with the limes. I'm gonna quarter them up into eighths and toss them on a plate. The bean sprouts, you just put them on a plate. You can wash them if you want, but usually they come washed, so you'll be fine. Slice up some green onions. Now slice up some jalapeno and make sure to rub your eyes. I mean, don't rub your eyes, wash your hands thoroughly, and don't play with your kids, okay? Now plate up the cilantro and basil. You know what to do. Just rip it off its stems and toss it on a plate. Washed, of course. And that's it. There's your plate of garnishments for your pho. This is the part where you really do need a sharp knife. If you don't have a sharp knife, well, good luck. So I cut the eye of round down the center, so I make it a little thinner, so it makes it easier to cut. And then I toss it back in its styrofoam tray and pop it in the freezer. Slightly frozen beef is a lot easier to cut than raw beef, especially if you want to get it really thin. An hour to 45 minutes later, pull it out of the freezer and slice it as thin as you can get. Don't worry if you're not getting it like the restaurant. A lot of those places have a deli slicer for this sort of thing, but we're working with just kitchen knives, so we do what we can, right? Place your sliced beef on a plate to serve. After 30 minutes of simmering, the onions and ginger should be soft, and you want to toss in one spice packet for every gallon of stock you make. Taste it and adjust the water. Probably about 2 cups evaporated off, or maybe less, and you just want to adjust it to taste. How strong do you like your broth, basically? Now bring it back up to a simmer and let it go for 15 minutes. Time to deal with the noodles. Cut open the package and toss it in a bowl. I don't know why I'm using a co-liner in this, because the noodles break up and they start to get all over the cutting board, the floor. It becomes a mess. So generally use a bowl. Don't follow my directions here. The package is about a pound, and I usually go 5 ounces of rice noodles per serving, but some people can put down the 8, if not more. That's, you just let them know, or let yourself know. And we cook these noodles, the fresh rice noodles, in the bowl themselves. If you got a noodle basket you can drop in hot water, perfect, that works too. You're almost there and ready to serve. So it's been about 15 minutes, and we can fish the spice packet out of the stock along with the onion and ginger. This is where most recipes and people tell you to kind of skim the top of the bouillon, stock, broth, whatever, off the top. But you don't want to lose any of that fat. That's the stuff, as you pull your noodles up out of the broth, you want it to coat, and it gives it that good mouthfeel. That's the good stuff. We got everything ready to go. We got the meat, the veggies, the broth. We want to cook the noodles. It just takes a second for these fresh ones. I usually get my kettle hot to about 200 degrees, and then I just drop some water in there and give it about 10 seconds, and then you strain it off real quick. And that's basically it. Now you're ready to serve. Now we just ladle hot broth, stock bouillon, onto the noodles. I always put in some green onions that we cut earlier into there, so as we're serving, it just looks good that way. When you just serve noodles and broth and people put in their stuff, it kind of, I don't know, doesn't look nice. This way it looks really pretty. So, and then you table and you're ready to go, and this is it. This is how I make pho, and it doesn't take all that long. 45 minutes tops. And chances are you'll never go out to buy pho again. So, thanks for watching.